Welcome into the JMU Sports News Podcast. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, flying solo. No Bennett Conlon today as he enjoys the beautiful beaches of who knows where he is. But we're joined today, actually, by Joe Kirkendall of the Founding Fathers as they get set not only to play in the basketball tournament in TBT for the third time, but Joe, you guys are getting set also to host the event inside the Atlantic Union Bank Center as well. How are you doing in the lead up to the big event?
Yeah, I'm doing great. We're super excited. I mean, honestly, this year, having done TBT before, like hosting aside, it's been one of the more fun and easier. I mean, they've all been fun, but easier years, right? When it's turnkey for us now of how to do this and plan for it, and then add in the fact that we're hosting, and it just gets super exciting and it's really awesome. And definitely, it's crazy to think. Yeah, if you told me June last year that we were even playing in TBT, I would have told you were crazy. And then to add on hosting, I would have said you're definitely crazy. So it's exciting to be able to have a team with some new faces and also be able to host at the AUBC.
You've been doing the media rounds. You talked with us at
Yeah.
Talking Dukes. You did some stuff with WHSV, but you've said that a couple of times where you've said if you had told us in June of last year,
Mhm.
365 days ago, that you'd be in TBT and I guess now hosting as well, you wouldn't have believed that. Where was the Founding Fathers 365 days ago, and why did
Yeah.
you not think you guys would be in
Mhm.
this spot today?
Yeah, good question. So we obviously 21 and 22 were the 2 years we played, and they've changed the format of TBT, the entry process. And to be transparent, that's why it literally came down to money. So 21 and 22, there was no entry fee. So the only thing we needed to fundraise for was travel money. So we only needed to fundraise about like 5 to 10K because when you get to later rounds, they help cover travel. Well, then they introduced an entry fee in 23, 24, and now 25. And so again, entry fee is $15,000. So, and I get why they do it at zero. Like they should do stuff like that, right? It makes sure teams are actually committed and they need to make money and all that stuff too. But it was just a barrier to entry for us. We tried a little bit with different sponsors and different things the past 2 years. Maybe we could have tried a little harder, but it didn't. We couldn't secure anyone in time to be able to fully commit. And I'm not rich enough to come out of pocket myself, even though I wish I could because it is fun and it's great to give people an opportunity. And so because of that, like because this entry fee model we somewhat tried the past few years, we somewhat made up our mind that maybe it's just not in the cards for us to do in the future. Um, and so, yeah, it was the TBT actually that reached out in December and tell me they're coming to Charlottesville. Right, that's obviously part of the story was UVA is going to do a team. We're going to play in Charlottesville. We want Founding Fathers, his location, and then turn into us hosting. So, with that in mind, though, like I have to give a huge appreciation and shout out to our two premier sponsors. Um, Dead Meat Society is one. It's like a grilling community and apparel um, group um, for mainly dads. It's kind of like the community, like the grilling community for dads. And Jake Coons, the JMU alum, so you may be familiar with, is the one that um, owns Dead Meat Society and was willing to support us from a sponsorship standpoint. So without him, and then Cliff Wood, everyone knows Cliff, of course, recently named the general manager for JMU Athletics as well. He on behalf of Duke Club made a sponsorship as well. So we're seeing some Duke Club branding. Our jerseys are going to have some good Dead Meat Society branding, all that stuff. But genuinely, this wouldn't have been possible without those two because I don't have that money myself to be able to make this happen. So, and we have some other sponsors that we'll announce as well. But those are definitely the two premier sponsors that we got to commit earlier this year, and it allowed us to be able to play in TBT.
Did they reach out to you or did you reach out to them? How did that relationship come about?
It was somewhat both. Obviously, it helps with having Scooter Rankin as part of our team, head of the club, right? And when I would reach out to sponsors, I want to make it clear, like I know we're not JMU affiliated, but I don't want to. We would love if you sponsor, but I don't want to cannibalize any. Like this is supposed to coexist with JMU or JMU athletics, so don't take away spending or donations to Duke Club and all that stuff. But Scooter was the one that kind of helped provide the introduction to Dead Meat Society. Cliff and I had a relationship before. He's been helpful and supportive of TBT in the past. When we first did it, that's when he was still working for Duke Club. So he was helpful from like bridging that gap. And then I think I told you when I saw you last week, I'd never been to the conference tournaments since I've graduated school. And I wanted to take my dad, obviously with a good year for men's and women's and doing them on the same site. And it was somewhat a business trip. I went down to Pensacola just to kind of put the feelers out and see if there'd be interest in sponsors and other things to talk with teams and stuff. And that's how Cliff was obviously there. And so that I think helped as well in playing into it.
So now you guys are putting together the roster. You're getting it all going. Mark
Hmm.
Freeman, part of that. Elijah Hutchins Everett, you guys have announced as well. Terrell Strickland, I just saw come across the news wire.
Yep.
Not a lot of the older guys, kind of getting
Yeah.
some of these younger guys, more of the post COVID era.
Yeah.
What's the process like? Have you had interest from some of the older guys, or was there a concerted effort to get some of the new graduates as part of the team?
Yeah. We wanted a combo, honestly. And obviously, Ron Curry and Andre Nation were two of our kind of premier players in the past. But as the roster sits right now, I was a manager 2012 to 2016. There were no players. The only player from that era is Demi Barkaba, who's on the staff, coaching staff, and not a player staff. So there are no players from that era. Scooter comes from before that era. For his like 1 year he played at JMU. But um, part of it is maybe they're stopped playing professionally, so they don't feel comfortable or not in shape. Or if you look at Ron Curry, he's playing in the Canadian League this summer, and so that's like his. And so the Canada Professional League is in the summer, so that conflicts, right? So it's not for lack of wanting to or for lack of whatever. It's just he got this separate professional deal. Because I think from that era, yeah, Ron and Andre are probably the only ones still playing. You have like Tom Badanovich, but he's in New Zealand and a dad now, so that's kind of hard to get him over here. We've had some conversations in the past, but kind of that middle um, era, or I say middle because I think if Scooter is older, but yeah, um, the older group, 30 plus or 29 plus. Yeah, we don't have any besides Scooter, so
I think you guys.
so
I think the
it wasn't intentional to get all more recent guys. It was
yeah.
just kind of how it came out.
I think
We would
the
have loved to
oldest
have
guy.
Ron if it worked. So
I think the oldest guy you guys have is Stucky.
yeah, well, if not including Scooter.
Yeah, not including
But
Scooter.
yeah,
How could I
yes,
forget the
Stucky.
3 point specialist?
Yes. Stucky. And even he wasn't a Coach Brady. Um, he was actually Lewis Rose. So he's
Yeah,
even like three coaches ago, right? So yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy to think
yeah.
about that
Stucky's
Rose
a Rowe
now.
guy. Yeah.
That's 3 coaches ago now.
Yeah,
Wow.
Matt Brady's four coaches ago. Yes.
Whew. That
Yeah.
makes me feel old considering I was there for
Yeah.
the Brady and Rowe era.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
growing out everything, you guys have Mark Freeman. Was
Mhm.
there any when you were putting together the roster from your GM standpoint? What is it like putting together a founding fathers roster? Are
Mhm.
you just, hey guys, who wants to do it? Sign up and bring them across? Or are you going out and you're like, all right, well, we got a big guy. We need a guard. We need a facilitator. We need a shooter. Like, how do you approach building the roster and working with your coaches to put together a roster?
Yeah. There's a very fine line, especially um I think I even said this on other interviews from whether it's sponsors or players in the past. It was like we had to do so much proactive outreach of players and all this other stuff because we weren't a known entity. There weren't that many alums still playing professionally. But lately, we've had a lot more inbound requests for interview sponsorship and players. So what makes it unique and interesting is, yeah, there's this combination of like, we want good guys. And I know that sounds cliche, but we genuinely do. Like, we don't want any blow ups or anything. We do want as well rounded a roster we can get. And um, we don't want a huge roster, right? We don't want to have a roster of 15 and then not everyone play. Like we're in it to win it. And I think we were in it to win in the past, but in the back of our heads, we were just like, wow, we made it, right? We're happy to be here, but we're in it to win it this year. And so to fully answer your question, part of it is we definitely have like our initial targets, and then part of it is based on like who we know, right? Like because we don't have any players from that Matt Brady area, like before January 1, I didn't have Mark Freeman's number. I didn't have Jarrell Pope's number. I didn't have Terrell Strickland's number. And so um, it's kind of getting a core that can, one, be the one to help you with introductions, but two, sometimes they're the captain or leader that's like lights the fire into these guys to be like, hey, I need you to sign up and join this team and get going. So, and then as the summer goes on and we kind of see where the roster plays out, then we expand our reach more. But again, we don't want to like mass email all the alums playing professionally and then end up with like 15 inquiries on the roster because people won't be happy they won't play and that kind of reverse and reverse. So um, in the beginning, it's kind of like who can we get, and then it becomes more like now that's still in the holes and different positions and stuff we might not have. But super excited. We've never in the 2 years, all our bigs have been non-JMU guys. So this will be the first year we have two, I guess, with Elijah and Alonzo Sule, two actual JMU bigs. And right now, and I hope we are looking to add one or two to the roster. We have seven right now, but I'm hopeful that we could end up being fully JMU affiliated, which is pretty unique in TBT. Even the teams that like win it all usually have like one or two, but from staff to players, everyone at least spent 1 year with JMU basketball so far. So that's pretty cool and unique.
I was going to ask about that because it's not typical that you see a like yeah,
Yeah.
there are alumni groups, but even some of the Power Four alumni groups will bring in
Yeah.
other kind of mercenaries to try and fill out the holes on the roster. But this year, you guys are fully JMU affiliated as it stands. What does it say about the JMU community and then the JMU men's basketball and women's basketball? Because you have Nikki Newman as a coach on the
Yeah.
staff as well. The basketball overall community.
Yeah. And I was going to say that that's what adds to to explain the explanatory variable there is the growth of JMU basketball over the years, right? Again, we didn't even like have maybe 12 players to ask who were alums still playing professionally in 2021 and 2022. But the growth of JMU basketball has created this one interest in JMU basketball in general. So by virtue of that, our team, but then putting out players that are still capable of competing and playing in TBT, which is what we want, which is another reason like we're in it to win it this year because we know we're not just like filling spots, we're like getting the spots we need. So that's been super exciting. Kudos to all the coaches over the years who've gotten Byington, I mean, Rowe, right? We got Stuckey and we had some other Rowe era players. And then, of course, Coach Spradlin right now just goes to speak about kind of the players they're putting out. But we're at this point where we don't need to go outside the JMU family.
How has Spradlin helped you through this process and kind of JMU in general now with hosting it as well?
Yeah, they've been super great, super communicative. Again, helps to have that Scooter connection to bridge that gap. But Matt Roan and Coach Spradlin have been great to work with. Coach Spradlin will text me here and there and say, how can we help? All this other stuff. So that's been good. I also try to be somewhat cognizant that like this is not out of control, but I don't, it's hard being a coach, right? In the summers, they're off time. So I don't want them to feel like we're just adding something else to their plate they have to do or help with. So we definitely love to have them involved and we're trying to get them involved as we can and want to, but I'm not here to Coach Spradlin to do all this extra work for us. Not because I don't want him to, but because, or not that I don't think he's capable of it, but I want to respect his time off in summer too. And, but we'll be doing some practices and different things at Harrisonburg and AUBC and obviously just playing there in general with the people around. But they've been super helpful and excited about athletic communication. Brett with men's basketball, he's been great to work with and helping us push out content, right? It's a combined effort of getting this done. And they want to JMU's trying to sell tickets too, so however we can like coexist and help each other um, make this happen, then we are, and they've been great at facilitating that.
Awesome. And how important is it for JMU fans to support now that you guys are hosting this, I guess, regional at the AUBC?
It's great. We need all the people we can get, right? We want to prove to TBT one that we belong as a host, whether that means hosting for next year or hosting for um, future years, whenever that may be. But also just literally having a home court advantage. And I think that does matter. And it's not lost on us that we're 0-2 in TBT. Now we've not gotten killed and we've been the underdog in both games. Not trying to get we got uh, grace and or points in defeat, but we're ready to win and we need to win. And having fans there will certainly help that. So one, like I said, it proves the TBT we belong, and it proves to the rest of the basketball world and can help us get that elusive first win within TBT. And I think I mean that second loss was to herd that the Marshall alumni team, and technically West Virginia was the host, but Huntington's only an hour from West Virginia, so we had a de facto road game, right? And we were I think tied going into the Elam ending and lost, right? So who knows if like the scale could have been tipped towards us if it was, or not towards them if it wasn't a home game for them, proving that I think it helped them. And it should have, right? It should. They're in West Virginia, and so if we can get that same type of support and whatnot in Harrisonburg, then that'd be awesome. And we hope to put out a good product too. It's not just begging people to show up; it's hoping people will show up because I promise it'll be a fun event too. TBT in general is a fun event,
Yeah,
whether it's the new team or not.
love it. Joe, thank you so much for some of
Yeah,
your time. Look forward to seeing the Founding Fathers rattle off a couple of wins this year. Been oh
yeah.
so close. That dang Elam ending a couple of times
Yes, yeah, I
has
mean,
come.
yeah, and year one, still think about it. I think we had the ball 3 times with a chance to win it. So we'll get there. I'm excited about this year, and it's going to happen this year. And so yeah, everyone get out July 18th. It's only a month away. It's crazy how quick it's coming. And stay tuned to the socials for some player announcements. I know I keep teasing that, but it's not abnormal for these players sometimes to drag out. They got to figure out their summer schedules and stuff. But There will be one or two more ads. I'll guarantee that. But
We'll keep it locked. We'll have Twitter
yeah,
notifications on for
yeah,
everything Founding
yes,
Fathers.
yes, as you should.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack.